Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, watching us on fourstyle.com.au here today for the 117th running of the PSA Head of the River Regatta here in Western Australia. We have fantastic conditions here, a little bit of right to left wind as you look at your screens going across the course today, but fantastic just the same. We'll be getting underway. We're about 5 minutes away from our first event of our racing program. It'll be the Year 9 E Division Quads. Now, as you look at your screens, as we can see our boats just starting to line up now. As you look across the screens from left to right, lane 8 is on our left. Then we go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 as you go across the screen. So in lane 8 will be Trinity College, going across the screen to your right hand side. Then we have Guildford, Aquinas College, our host school this year, Christchurch, Wesley, Hale and Scotch College. They will be our Year 9 E Division boats just lining themselves up. A little bit of nerves for this one. Of course, the Head of the River has been brought forward just a little bit this season to make sure that COVID-19 regulations and restrictions don't suddenly come in and make us miss out on the Head of the River. Of course, a couple of years ago we missed out on Head of the River entirely because of restrictions with COVID, but pragmatic approach being taken by our schools and our executive of the PSA to make sure the Head of the River can get underway. Fantastic shots of the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre here today. As I've said before, the weather's lovely. We're about 24 degrees, 25 degrees at the moment. Looking for an expected top of around about 32, so we should be quite comfortable here this morning. 8 races on the program in all, and we hope that everyone enjoys our coverage right around Australia, right around the world. Let us know where you're watching us from, even if you're watching us from the side of Champion Lakes Regatta Centre, that's okay. We'd love to know. Last year we had people as far as Brazil logging on and letting us know they were watching, and of course we always have a great take up from our eastern states neighbours watching the action here in Western Australia. So we can see our drone footage of our Year 9 E Division almost set to go, and we're away on time by the looks of things, very nicely indeed. And the fantastic drone footage that we come accustomed to at Head of the River each year, thanks to fourstyle.com.au. So if you've got somebody who can't be with us today, who wants to watch all of the events, just go to fourstyle.com.au. That's the number 4, style.com.au. and then press live when you get on to the website. Looks like one of our boats has got into a little bit of trouble in lane number 8. Looks like Trinity might have just had a bit of a problem there, as they have well and truly stopped in their tracks in lane number 8. Lane number 7 will be Guildford as we go across. Just having a look at that footage. 7 boats coming down towards us. We may actually, that was going to be my apologies. No trouble with the boat in lane number 8. There was another boat on screen who was just in shot, we would like to say, on their way to the start. So no trouble. All the mums and dads who have just made panic at home, no trouble for Trinity. Guildford from lane 7, then Aquinas, Christchurch, Wesley, Hale and Scotch College as you look across. And Trinity College have got themselves out to almost a boat length lead after that little bit of a panic station. So Trinity are fine. Nothing to worry about here, and they are cruising. And they have been the form school of the summer so far. Of course, the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre, the perfect location here in Australia for rowing. As we see the live shots now, Trinity are absolutely rating the best of the rest, and they are cruising. We look out onto the water from our live position here on the side of the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre, and you can see it also on the screens. It is almost ice-like as far as how flat the water is here today. Perfect conditions, our Year 9 E Division. And one of the bonuses for the Year 9 E Division, they'll be able to keep their bow number, souvenir bow number. So something to look forward to for the teams. We'll be able to take those home today. As Trinity show the way out to just over a boat length's lead at the moment in front of Guildford. Trinity are rating nicely. There's this overhead shot from the drone. Trinity, then Guildford. Then we go right across to Hale, who just edging everyone else out for 3rd place at the moment. And Christchurch going nicely through the centre as well. But as they come down towards the last couple of 100 metres now, Trinity show the way. A boat length in front of Guildford and going away with it. Guildford are doing a good job. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. Just Trinity just rating that little bit nicer at the moment. They'll start to come in line where all of our school marquees are set up here today, and the cheers are starting here in the live side of things. For those of you who are watching from home, I'm not sure whether you can pick up on the sound, but the schools are very active now. All of our students leaning up against the barriers and cheering Trinity home now. They've got just under 100 metres to go, and they're going to cruise through and take the first event of the day here. Trinity College looking very nicely. Year 9 E Division quads cruising up to the line, going out to a 2 boat length lead over the top of Guildford Grammar. It's a great row by Guildford, but Trinity are going to be very happy with the start here today. From lane number 8, Trinity College. This is what it's all about. Bring your A game on the day of Head of the River, and the Year 9Es have done it nicely for Trinity, and they're very happy about their win. Guildford are going to go across in 2nd place. There's a great race going on now for 3rd. Hale are trying to hang on. They've got a little bit of trouble. The race coming home from Aquinas, but Hale will hang on for 3rd, then Aquinas and Christchurch. So our next event is at 9:10 for those of you watching at home. You'll be able to get yourselves up and go and get a cup of tea or a drink. But the next event will be at 9:10. For everyone who's joining us here live at the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre, the wine raffle is in full swing, and of course this is the fundraiser to raise money for all of our Aquinas rowing, as they are the host school this year. And it's $10 for a ticket. First prize, a dozen of Takinger champagne, valued at $948. Second place is a mixed dozen, valued at $225. And third place is a half dozen Sauvignon Blanc, for $120 of value. A ticket will cost you $10. All proceeds, all money raised will go into our Aquinas Junior Rowing. So our live shots on fourstyle.com.au. You can see our Year 9D quads just trying to come up to their start line. Looking for a 9:10 start, but as you can see, one or two boats just having a little bit of difficulty getting into their stride to line up here, and our WA rowing officials will take a little bit of time there to make sure our students are all good. This time, looking from left to right across the screen, once again we will have Trinity College in 8, Guildford in 7, Christchurch, Aquinas, Wesley, Hale and Scotch College as we go across the line. It does change every now and then as we go through the day because of the draw for positions. So Year 9D quads almost set to go. So just looking for Wesley to come up into a little bit better of a position there, just lagging back ever so slightly. Set to go now. This is race number 2, 2022 PSA Head of the River Regatta, and this is our Year 9D quads. We're away now, but look at the action onto the right-hand side of the screen here. Two of our Contestants just almost coming together then. That was a bit touch and go for Scotch College and Hale. Hale have straightened themselves up now, and so have Scotch College, but you can see the sort of hiccup that has created for them compared to all of the other boats, because down the centre lanes at the moment, going very nicely indeed. Christchurch really moving nicely, got themselves out to about half a canvas in front of Trinity College at the moment, but Trinity look nice and strong there in lane number 8 as we get lovely overhead drone footage here. All of our crews nice and straight. This is our Year 9 D Division students. So the regatta journey for all of these students starts this year, and of course all of these students will get better and better as the years go on and try and get themselves up into the first 8 team by the time they're in years 11 and 12 to try and win the head of the river for their school. But at the moment it is quite clear in the centre there that it's Aquinas College that are leading the way. Aquinas have got themselves out to a lead by the looks of it as we look down on my program here. Then you've got Trinity over on the left hand side. You can see the shot here, Aquinas stand out beautifully with the red oars. Rating very nicely indeed. 1 or 2 boats just behind having a little bit of problem with their steering, but at the moment Aquinas, there would be only half a canvas between Aquinas and Trinity at the moment. And Trinity seem to just be stepping up the rate now as they start to come to level with Aquinas and just getting the front of the boat, that half canvas lead over the top of Aquinas. So a good contest here between our host school, Aquinas College, and Trinity in lane number 8. Aquinas and Trinity, nothing between them now. A bow ball was all that would be separating them at the moment as they head towards the second half of the journey. Aquinas and Trinity. Have a look outside of the commentary tower here for a bit more of a live view. It's quite clear that Aquinas is rating very nicely, as is Trinity. Nothing too much between them. When you have a look at the live view, you'll see from our shots on fourstyle.com.au, the water is absolutely perfect here today. The conditions absolutely perfect. A little bit of an easterly wind, as now we get the high shot from the drone, and Trinity now starting to go away from Aquinas. So Aquinas, they've had a great start to this second race. They're going to have to lift now though, because Trinity once again are rating nicely as they enter the last couple of 100 metres now. Trinity starting to go away with it over the top of the rest of the field. Aquinas are well and truly in front of Guildford, who are coming up into third. But Trinity lead the way and are starting to go away. Not quite the boat length lead yet. Aquinas have put up a good fight here, and they're fighting back the best they can over this last 100. Trinity lead the way, however. Lane number 8 is the lucky lane for them today for the school. Trinity lead the way in front of our host school for this year, Aquinas. But Trinity, Year 9 D quads, are going to come down. 25 metres to go for Trinity, and they're going to take another win here at the head of the river regatta. Trinity cross in first, a boat length clear in the end over the top of Aquinas. Guildford Grammar are going to cross in third place. So there you go. Trinity have stepped up for the first 2 races of the day. Our next race will be on at approximately 20 minutes past 9. It'll be our Year 9 B Division quads, once again over 1,000 metres. Just a reminder to all of our spectators, helpers and staff who are here at the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre. Think twice, put on a mask. Social distancing the best you can. I know we're outdoors, so we're pretty well okay. Just please look after each other. Hand hygiene stations are everywhere, and also don't forget to use your QR code check-in. This is the 117th head of the river for PSA, and our big thank you to our host school, Aquinas College. Make sure you get down to get your $10 ticket in the wine raffle. A dozen Takenga champagnes valued at $948 is first prize. There's a mixed dozen for $225, valued at $225, and a half dozen of Sauv Blanc valued at $120 just for a $10 ticket here today. And of course, all proceeds go to Aquinas Junior Rowing. We'll be back with race number 3 on forstyle.com.au just about 9:20, so about 5 minutes from now. For those of you who are with us at Champion Lakes Regatta, don't forget all the food trucks and coffee vans are on the grassed area just next door to the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre, and it's under the shade, so you don't have to line up in the sun. Get yourselves down, get something to eat, and get yourselves a drink. Race number 3, the Year 9 C Division quads, all lined up nicely, just ahead of schedule, so we'll see if our rowing officials let them go. It's not the easiest thing for these kids to be able to, our students to just sort of tread water there in the boats, and you can see one or two just going off a little bit in their direction. But they're underway now, but we've got one boat. No, that's going to go in the next race. Just catching me out a little bit there, lane number 8. Just making me panic a little bit. There was an 8th boat right up behind the start of this one. But our boats, our 7 schools in this one, well and truly up and away. And it's Trinity College and Guildford Grammar who lead the way again over in lane number 8 and lane number 7. So you'd almost think that it's a short course if you're in lane number 8. Of course it's not, I'm only joking. But the way Trinity is going here with the schools so far, starting in lane number 8, they have gone very nicely. They are getting challenged. They've been challenged by Guildford, and they're getting challenged by Guildford now, as they are absolutely head-to-head lane 8 and lane number 7 at the moment. Trinity in 8, Guildford in 7, and Guildford just trying to get that bow ball clear, going out to about a half a canvas lead over the top of Trinity College at the moment. So they are really taking it up to Trinity here. And then we go back to Christchurch, just trying to hang on to the stream here, Christchurch. So the 3 boats you'll see on screen here, Guildford in the middle. The yellow is Christchurch and the white is Trinity. Of course, they've got the double blue bands around their skin suits. And here we go. Guildford are getting themselves out to 2/3 of a boat lead here. So this is a real big challenge from Guildford Grammar over the first 500 of this 1,000 metres. Guildford lead the way in front of Trinity, and Guildford have really turned up the gas in this round. This is our Year 9 C division. Guildford rating very nicely. Trinity don't look out of place though, do they? Neither does Christchurch, mind you, as they head towards us now. But Guildford, now they have a full boat length lead over the top of Trinity. So Guildford Grammar really moving nicely. Still got about 500 to go. They'll come into the view of all of our school marquees soon, and the noise will start, especially from Guildford Grammar, because they'll be looking to be the first school to knock Trinity off the top perch here this morning. Trinity have won the first two. Year 9 C division, Guildford lead the way in front of Trinity, but we saw Trinity come home in the last one. But looking at the way Guildford are going here, Trinity are going to be hard pressed to be able to bring them back from here, because Guildford are now going out to almost a 2 boat length lead here. Good news for the Guildford Grammar School and crews, because they are rating beautifully as they come up to around 200 to go now. Guildford Grammar lead the way and lead it strongly. Then we go back to Trinity and Christchurch. Guildford Grammar are in that perfect position now of being able to keep a good eye on what Trinity are doing. Guildford Grammar, they look to be cruising, and they are. They're out to over a boat length lead. Trinity are trying everything. They're throwing the kitchen sink at them over the last part. But Guildford have got this one in hand, and got it in hand nicely. All 4 lads having a look to their left to see where Trinity is. Trinity have come home strong over the last 100. But Guildford Grammar are going to go across the line in first place. Now just the boat length clear of Trinity into second, and Christchurch, they're going to get themselves up onto the podium for third. Well, for those of you watching on the live stream, that is the effort it takes to win here. As you can see how Guildford Grammar students absolutely collapsed in the boat there, as we go back to the beautiful shots here of the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre and our school marquees all lined up. Not the massive crowds that we're used to for head of the river. Of course, changing times in our community. I mean, not everyone's turned up to say hi, but there's a lot of noise when these boats get towards 100 metres to go. The schools and all of our students making a lot of noise, cheering home their teams. Our next event will be our Year 9 B Division quads, set to go at 9:30. So we come back to our live pictures on 4style.com.au here. This is race number 4 we're looking at lining up. This is our Year 9 B Division quads. And we're just waiting for Wesley College to come up into position now, because start time is 9:30. Rowing officials will get them as close as they possibly can to straight. It's not the easiest thing to keep these boats straight for the students. From left to right on our screen, you'll have Trinity College and Christchurch, then Guildford, Hale, Aquinas College, Wesley and Scotch College over in lane number 1, which is on the right-hand side of our screen as you look at our footage from the drone. If you're here at Champion Lakes, take out your personal device and go to 4style.com.au. That's the number 4, style.com.au, and you'll be able to put the binoculars away for a day and be able to see all of the action live for the duration of today's event. 7 boats lined up, ready to go. They're a little bit higgledy-piggledy on the start line. Yes, you can hashtag that one, higgledy-piggledy. In lane number 8, on the left-hand side of the course, is Trinity. They've won 2 of the first 3. Guildford Grammar have won the other one. They're almost set to go. Can't imagine the rowing officials are going to hold them much longer, because they're all nice and straight just at the moment. We're underway from the higgledy-piggledy start here for race number 4. This is our Year 9 B Division quads. Trinity on the left-hand side of screen in lane number 8. Then Christchurch, Guildford, Hale, Aquinas, Wesley and Scotch as we look across the course. And Trinity, they had their colours lowered in the last race, and they have shot out from the cannon for this one, out to almost a half boat length lead straight away over the top of Guildford Grammar. Trinity leading the way and looking comfortable at the moment. Then we go to Guildford Grammar in lane number 6, which is 3rd from the left on our screens. And then just sort of a good contest here between Wesley and Christchurch in 3rd place. There's a bit of a blanket over the other schools here for 3rd place. A good contest going on. But Trinity lead the way in front of Guildford. But Guildford, well, they went to about a half boat length deficit to start with. Now they have started to hit their straps and starting to rate very nicely indeed. Guildford starting to look good as we have the front on shot, and Guildford certainly are just rating that little bit better and coming back towards Trinity as they head halfway through the course. This is good rowing here from Trinity and Guildford today, the 2 form schools clearly in the Year 9 division so far. Half a boat length lead to Trinity over the top of Guildford. It's this next section. Once they've got the nerves of the start out the way, this is where they have to settle in. This is where the lactic acid will start to come into the shoulders and the upper body. And this is where you really have to push through, really on it, make sure you can keep the boat nice and smooth and rating nicely. And have a look at the overhead shot. Trinity though, they've got themselves out of the start very nicely indeed. So Guildford have got all the work to do to try and reel them back in. They haven't totally gone from it yet, Guildford, but they have a mountain of work to do over the last part. You can see the 500 metre start just to our right-hand side. They've gone through that as they start to head towards 350 to go. And Trinity, well, they've got themselves a boat length lead now over the top of Guildford. It's a good race for 3rd place though between the rest. Christchurch just trying to head themselves up in front of Wesley to get that 3rd spot. But Trinity, well, the drone tells the story, doesn't it? They are out to over a boat length lead now. Trinity lead in front of Guildford. Guildford are well clear of 3rd, but it's a great contest, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th between our other schools. Trinity will start to hear the cheers of their school from the side of Champion Lakes Regatta here. Trinity have rated nicely. They got a great start. They went out to a half boat length start straight away. Guildford did come back on them, but then Trinity just found another gear as they come in towards the last 100 metres now. Trinity are going to take another win here at our Head of the River Regatta for 2022. They head towards the finish. Guildford are comfortable up into second, but Trinity, the last 25 metres for them now, rating very nicely. All the encouragement for Trinity as they go to the line. They will take this one out 2 boat lengths clear in the end. A great win. Absolute elation for the Trinity crew. Guildford will cross in second place. Christchurch are having a look across at Wesley. Christchurch are going to get themselves third place in front of Wesley. Then we will go back to Hale and Aquinas, and then Scotch College will round out our field. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to our next event at 20 to 10, 9:40 a.m. here in Western Australia. So, for those of you watching around the world, we're about 5 minutes away from the start of race number 5. 12 races in all today. The next race will be our Year 9A division students. So fantastic live drone footage there from our drone in the sky. You can see just trying to line themselves up as our Year 9 students. So for those of you watching around the world, our Year 9 students, just to put it into perspective, 14 years of age for our Year 9 students. These are now nice and straight now, so certainly dealing with the younger categories here in the PSA divisions. 14 years for this Year 9 A division final in the quads. They look like they're set to go though, nice and straight, just coming up to 9:40 West Australian time. From left to right across our screens, we have Trinity College, Hale go next to them, then Christchurch, Guildford, Wesley, Aquinas and Scotch College. WA rowing officials just making sure everything's where it needs to be. Still a little bit of treading water there, as you can see, with oars still being used, just to make sure they're nice and straight before the off. Can't imagine they're going to be held too much longer though, as they just creep towards the starting line. And then we'll look for the splash of all 7 boats, should I say, all 4 sets of oars. And you see that big splash, you know that they will be underway. It's almost a little bit like tacking in the America's Cup, the way they creep up to the start line. I want to be able to hit it just at the right moment, as they have this sort of open water start where they have to balance themselves the best they can. Well, it looks like we've got a little bit of a hiccup here from our WA rowing officials. Weren't convinced that everyone was in the right spot, ready to go. So you can see that 2 boats have just backed out of the starting lineup here to position themselves elsewhere. So perhaps our WA rowing officials have decided everyone's just crept forward that little bit too far. With all of our boats making their way backwards at this point. It's a tough ask. Remember, 14 years of age, our students in the Year 9 division. This is their first real season of regatta rowing. They were almost set to go, right on time, so now a little bit of a later start here, as our rowing officials have made the call to just line them up again. Hard task to be able to move one of these boats backwards for the best of our rowers. So we'll just watch our footage and see them get themselves sorted. As I said before, from left to right across our screens as we watch the footage, Trinity College, then Hale, then Christchurch, stand out nicely on our screens in the yellow, then Guildford, Wesley, Aquinas and Scotch College. All set to go again now. Waiting on the start from our rowing officials. 1,000 metres the journey for our Year 9 A Division quads. There's a little bit too much creeping forward on the start line from the looks of things. They got them to come back into line. Just waiting for Aquinas and Wesley just to straighten themselves up ever so slightly so they don't go careering off into each other. Look across the other side though. Trinity and Hale looking very comfortable and casual there. Also Christchurch. Those three boats, no trouble at all. Guildford also nice and straight. There the oars, the big splash of the oars are underway this time. This is race number 5 of our Head of the River regatta here for 2022. This is the final of our Year 9 A Division quads. And Trinity, as we've seen before, have got themselves out to a very nice start indeed. As we look across to lane number 3, Aquinas College has come out nicely as well, as has Scotch College. So once again we see Trinity getting themselves out nicely, but in this one, in the A Division, everybody else has got a nice start to them. Very nice over this first couple of 100 metres. Trinity show the way, but you've got to have a look at Aquinas because they are rating very nicely. One boat in lane number 8, the other one over in lane number 3. Trinity, they're moving nicely though. They are really moving nicely, and they have got themselves out to a boat length lead in lane number 8. So the Trinity boats have come into this season in some very nice touch indeed. And Trinity, once again, they've only been headed once so far today, and that was by Guildford Grammar. But Trinity have got themselves out to a solid lead once again for our Year 9s over 1,000 metres. The race for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, that's a nice one at the moment. Aquinas leads that part of the race. But Trinity, they're in a category all by themselves at the moment, out to well over a boat length lead here. The fight, well, it's for 2nd and 3rd at the moment, and the fight is between Hale and Aquinas. Then we go back to Christchurch and Guildford. Trinity, beautifully done. They're going out to well over 2 boat lengths lead here, Trinity. As I said before, the contest really for this one is 2nd, 3rd and 4th. As Trinity, they started nicely and they are getting stronger as this race goes. They're through the 500 metres now, all of our crews. Trinity show the way. The contest for 2nd is between Hale, Aquinas, and it looks like Guildford through the centre. They are the 3 who are fighting it out for 2nd and 3rd. There's nothing between those 3 boats. Trinity are heading towards a 3 boat length lead as they get towards the last quarter of the journey here. Trinity showing the way. The noise starting to start on the banks of Champion Lakes Regatta Centre here. There's been some good cheering so far. The crowd control barriers keeping everyone back out of the reeds this year. Otherwise everyone would be standing ankle deep in the water as per normal. Trinity show the way, and they show the way very nicely indeed. Perfect conditions here out on the water at Champion Lakes. Trinity leading. Then it is between Hale, Guildford and Aquinas for 2nd and 3rd. That is going to be one very big sprint to the line here this morning. Trinity lead the way. They're going to stand on top of the podium quite comfortably by themselves. But have a look at the contest for 2nd and 3rd. Hale, Guildford, Aquinas, the Christchurch there as well. Trinity are going to come down to this last 25. Comfortable winners of another race here today for Trinity College. Hale are having a look across and seeing how they are for 2nd place. Trinity are going to cross in 1st place now. The contest between Hale and Guildford for 2nd. Hale ever so slightly. Hale are going to cross in 2nd place. Guildford for 3rd. Christchurch, they've got themselves up across the top of Aquinas for 4th. Then we go back to Wesley, and Scotch will round out our field. So for those of you joining us in Western Australia, about 9:55 is the gazetted time for our next event, which will be our Year 10 A Division final in the quads, over 1,500 metres. For those of you not joining us in Western Australia and are saying it's not 9:49, well, we're about 6 minutes away from the start of our next event. And it'll be over 1,500 metres. It'll be our Year 10 division, so 15-year-olds in our A division quads. So, of course, one of the big trophies we have on offer here today is the Hamer Cup, the champion school of the regatta. So I'll just read you through the progressive points after the Year 9 events. In 7th place is Scotch College on 32 points. In 6th place is Wesley on 39. Then we have Aquinas on 42, Hale on 43, Christchurch on 46, Guildford Grammar on 54, and Trinity College on 59 points. That's through our Year 9 events. So Trinity, with no surprise, leading the way so far in the Hamer Cup progress points. We'll move on to our next event very shortly, just a few moments away from the start. And it's down at the 1,500 metre starting point, this one. This is for our Year 10 A Division students. So from lane number 8, which looks across our course, left to right, best way to sort of see it, is Aquinas College. Then Trinity will go from lane number 7, Guildford from 6, Christchurch from 5, Scotch, then Hale, then Wesley. So you've got Aquinas on the left-hand side of our screen, Wesley on the right-hand side of our screen, and we're almost set to go. 1,500 metres for our final Year 10 A Division, 1,500 metres. Almost set to go now for race number 6, Year 10A quads over 1,500 metres. Nicely lined up down there, 1,500 metre start, waiting on WA rowing officials to get them underway. For those of us who are here at Champion Lakes who aren't watching our fourstyle.com.au footage, don't forget there's plenty of food vans and coffee vans down here on the grass underneath the awning next to the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre. So plenty to eat and drink. Trying to feel as comfortable as everyone possibly can. Just a few COVID reminders: masks where possible, social distancing where possible. We have hand hygiene stations around the place, and also don't forget the QR code check-ins here today. Everyone's starting to go a little bit skew-if on the start line this time as we start to line up, start to get ready. Looks like the rowing officials just wanting to make sure nobody's encroaching on that starting line, so everyone just readjusting themselves down on the start line. You can see from our camera footage, get the impression possibly somebody was in the wrong lane. As Trinity start to move themselves across into lane number 7, so every possibility they might not have been in the right lane. Aquinas are in lane number 8, that's on the left-hand side of our screen. Then it will be Trinity, and then Guildford. Might possibly just be the little bit of change that was asked for. Then Christchurch will come into play, then Scotch College. So we'll wait for our boats to get lined up. A big hello to everyone who's joining us here on the shoreline of Champion Lakes today. Perfect conditions, not too hot so far. We've had a very hot summer here in Western Australia. Best part of 10 days over the other side of 35 degrees in the last couple of weeks. Today's not going to be like that, and we're here just for the morning this morning on Saturday. We've got a bit of an easterly wind blowing across Champion Lakes at the moment. The water conditions absolutely perfect. As you can see from our drone footage, we're underway now. 1,500 metres is the course. From left to right, looking at our screen, we have Aquinas, Trinity, Guildford, Christchurch, Scotch, Hale and Wesley College. And it's a good contest in this first couple of 100 metres between Aquinas and Trinity. We've cleared out straight away from Guildford, Christchurch, Scotch, Hale and Wesley. So Christchurch, Scotch, Hale and Wesley, just that boat length behind third place of Guildford at the moment. And Guildford trails by over a boat length already in this first 200 to 300 metres on Trinity and Aquinas. But Trinity and Aquinas head to head as they move towards the first 500 metres here, with Trinity now just starting to stretch that little bit of an advantage over the top of Aquinas. So Trinity are setting the standard here for our 2022 regatta. Aquinas into second. Then we go back to Guildford. And after that we have Christchurch, Scotch, Hale and Wesley rounding out the rest of our field. The contest though is who can beat Trinity. So far today, Guildford Grammar has been able to lower their colours once. But this is race number 6 on our program. So Trinity have taken 4 of the first 5 races. Guildford has taken 1. It's good contest for second and third in all of the races so far. But Trinity has shown themselves to be the form school this summer regatta season. Trinity out to over a boat length lead, heading towards 2 boat length lead now in front of Aquinas. And then we go back to Guildford. Have a look at our other boats out there. They're all rating very nicely. They're all looking very smooth, very comfortable. Just not quite rating the way the Trinity boats are here this morning. And they're about halfway through this 1,500 metres now. Beautiful weather here for those of you watching us around the world. Fantastic weather here in Western Australia today. So for those of you joining us in Western Australia, we've got 745 people from right around the world and on the east coast of Australia joining us on our live coverage today. And they're getting a treat from the Trinity College crews here this morning so far, because Trinity have got themselves out to almost 3 boat length lead here as they head towards 500 metres to go. Drone footage giving us a beautiful backdrop on our screens here on fourstyle.com.au. There is the boat of Aquinas in lane number 8. Just to their right hand side, you can just see the oars, and there they are, of Trinity. That's the sort of distance Trinity have over the top of the rest. 500 metres to go, just inside 500 metres to go now for Trinity, then Aquinas, then Guildford. Then we go back to Christchurch, Scotch College, Hale and Wesley, who will round out our 7 schools here. Now you can get a great idea of the damage that Trinity is inflicting over the rest of the field here in our Year 10A final. Trinity, then Aquinas. Then you'll see the big G on the back of the Guildford Grammar shirts. Then we go back to the yellow shirt of Christchurch just in our screens. You see all the cars parked up on the left-hand side of the banks. This is where our school marquees will start. And the noise will start. I'll tell you what, all the Trinity staff and students, they're going to run out of voice here today because they've had excited cheering all morning so far. Always make sure you cheer that little bit louder when your school is leading. Heading down to the last couple of 100 metres now, and Trinity are making it look easy here this morning in perfect conditions out on the water on Champion Lakes. Aquinas, the red oars coming up out of the water nicely, rating beautifully. Then we go back to Guildford Grammar. Fantastic drone footage there, up close with the Trinity team. Of course, all these schools will be able to watch this footage back later today. So when we see the drone come out that sits alongside the boat, that's fantastic footage to be able to see themselves really hit their straps. Trinity are going to come up and take this one out. It's not as exciting close finish as before, but well done to Trinity as they come across the line with a very, very big win over 1,500 metres here in the Year 10A division. 15 years of age, these guys, going very nicely. Aquinas are going to come up and take the second spot on the podium for this one. It's been a good row by them. They'll come across in second place as they are some 4 to 5 boat lengths clear of Guildford Grammar, who are going to be finishing off shortly. You can see the effort there from the Aquinas students as they try to catch their breath. The next boat that we're going to see come up to the line will be that of Guildford Grammar. As they just start to come into our shot now, Guildford Grammar are going to cross in third place. Then we go back to Christchurch. Christchurch looking for fourth. Scotch College trying to come up and challenge them, but Christchurch doing enough to hang on for fourth place here as they head towards the finish line now. Christchurch will finish in fourth place with about 25 metres to go. Just behind them, just over a boat length back, will be Scotch College in fifth. Then we will go back to Wesley and Hale. They will round out our field. The next event we move on to is race number 7 in our program today, which will be the final of our Year 10B 8s over 1,500 metres. And this is where our program might get a little bit closer because just a bit of a late start to one or two of our races. As we look down the straights here, the lanes of Champion Lakes Regatta course, all just getting themselves almost set to go. 1,500 metres will be the journey again. From left to right going across our screens as we look at the screen, Trinity College, then it will be Aquinas, then Guildford, Christchurch, Scotch College, Wesley and Hale. As our drone goes down to the 1,500 metre start point. See all of our boats lining up. See our students, 15 years of age in Year 10 here. Just trying to line themselves up a little bit. Christchurch Grammar just having a little bit of trouble getting the boat where it needs to be. And of course this is Year 10 B 8s. This is the first of our 8s division. So you're going to the next level in our rowing conditions here today. As we wait for the Christchurch boat just to get themselves up onto the starting area. We're underway now in the race number 7, our Year 10B Division 8s, and you can see a little bit of congestion over the right-hand side of the Champion Lakes Regatta course, with a few boats coming together ever so slightly, but we'll turn our attention for now to the left-hand side of the screen, because our 3 lead boats, well, they haven't been impeded by each other like on the right-hand side of the screen. That was really unfortunate there in the start. You can see the difference in lanes all of a sudden for our back 4 boats, which is in this one, Christchurch, Scotch, Wesley and Hale, really got terribly tangled up at the start there. But have a look as we go across and see what Guildford Grammar is doing. Guildford Grammar leading beautifully here, but I'm just having a look down closer. It looks like all the oars are up, and they are indeed. Oars are up, which means our rowing officials have made a decision on that start, and quite rightly so, because 4 boats came together on the right-hand side of the course and really tangled themselves up. Didn't affect our lead 3 boats, didn't affect Guildford, Aquinas or Trinity, but it most certainly ruined the chances for Christchurch, Scotch College, Wesley and Hale. So the right decision been made here. The officials have called it up, and it looks like they're going to wait for them to get back into position and get themselves started off again. So for all of our spectators on the side of Champion Lakes Regatta, while we have a break in racing, while we go to line up the boats again after the bit of a rough start for half of our boats in the last one, just a reminder of the 2022 Head of the River Wine Raffle. It's a fundraiser for Aquinas Rowing Club, of course, our host school for 2022. First prize for a $10 ticket, just a $10 ticket. First prize is a dozen Taking champagnes, valued at $948. Second prize is a mixed dozen valued at $225, and third prize is a half dozen of Sauvignon Blanc valued at $120. Now make sure you get yourselves down there and get a ticket while there's no action going on, because we will be doing the last part of the draw. You won't be able to get a ticket in about half an hour's time, because we're doing the draw before the final race of the day. So make sure you get down there and get yourselves a ticket. All proceeds are going to the junior rowing at Aquinas this year. So go down and get yourselves some tickets while you can. Just a few COVID reminders. Masks optional, but best practice for yourselves. Social distancing where you can, but we're lucky, aren't we? Beautiful outdoor sunny day here in Western Australia today. We have hand hygiene stations all around the course, and please don't forget the QR code check-ins just to keep each other safe and sound as we move part way through 2022 here in WA. We're all open again this week on Thursday, aren't we? Who's bought their plane ticket already? I know quite a few people have. So for those joining us on forstyle.com.au today, make sure you press live when you go on. We haven't died, we're still here, as you can see from our screens. The boats are going across the course at the moment, just trying to line themselves up. We had coming together of boats at the start of race number 8. So at the start of our previous one, which was race number 7. 10B8s, and that was race number 7. So there was a coming together of the boats of Hale, Wesley, Scotch and Christchurch. And our officials did the right thing, they pulled it up. It hadn't affected our top 3 boats, Guildford, Aquinas or Trinity, but it certainly affected Christchurch, Scotch, Wesley and Hale. As you can see on screen, they're starting to sort themselves out. And as soon as they're set to go, we'll be underway with race number 7. A little bit of housekeeping to everyone here at Champion Lakes Regatta Centre. Please step back from the reeded area. There's a number of students who have stepped over the crowd control barriers and are now standing in the reeds. A request from Venues West, so we don't hold the program up. Please, all students go back behind the crowd control barriers. All team captains, all staff members of schools, could you please advise everybody to be back behind the crowd control barriers, please. So here's a nicer shot of our live shot here. You can see just a few little problems there, as we can see. I don't mean to laugh, but there's a lot of kids under a lot of pressure here today. Head of the River 2022. We've brought the Head of the River forward in the racing program so that we don't get impeded by any possible COVID restrictions that may suddenly pop up in Western Australia. Those of you who aren't in Western Australia, just to give you a heads up about our time with COVID here in Western Australia, we had our borders closed for the last 2 years, so we've gone pretty much unaffected in the last 2 years. Our borders open here in Western Australia this coming week. And unfortunately, just like the rest of the world, numbers of COVID have started to rise. And our state government has been very protective of its citizens over the last couple of years. So just in case restrictions suddenly come into play in the next couple of weeks, our schools and our PSA executive have made the very, very good call to bring the Head of the River forward to make sure the Head of the River trophy gets competed for by our students this year. Of course, last year, Scotch College, well, where did they come from in the Head of the River? They weren't the standout school last year until we lined up for the Head of the River, and over 2,000 metres last year, Scotch College absolutely flew. This year, well, maybe it's Hale. Hale have been going very nicely indeed in the first eights. And everything else, it's been a Trinity show with a few inclusions from Guildford Grammar. So looks like we're lined up and set to go now for race number 7. This is the first of our eights here today as we look left to right. Trinity, Aquinas, Guildford, then Christchurch in the bright yellow in the middle, then Scotch College, Wesley and Hale. Almost set to go. One or two boats just struggling to hold onto their straight line. And that's where we got into difficulty for the start of this race some 10 or 15 minutes ago now. So the program just running a little bit behind. But we've got a beautiful day, perfect weather, perfect cruise, and the staff doing a wonderful job here at Chant Lakes. And a very big welcome to over 900 guests on our fourstyle.com.au coverage here today. The oars are in and out of the water and they're away this time. Let's hope for a straight line start from all of our crews as Trinity College have come out of the cannon nicely. So have Guildford and Aquinas. And beautifully this time, Christchurch, Scotch, Wesley and Hale have got themselves away nice, clean and tidy. It's a better contest this time, isn't it? Our bottom four schools who got, that's the wrong thing to say, they weren't our bottom four schools, but our schools from the middle to the right-hand side. Well, they got tangled up terribly in the start of the last one. This time they're underway, and the contest for third place at the moment goes between 5 schools because 2 schools have got themselves clear, and once again it is Guildford and Trinity who are fighting out the first part of this journey and fighting it out nicely. Trinity going nicely, ever so slightly in front, and it's not enough to talk about. A bow ball only, maybe a half a canvas as they start to get into their stride through the first 250 metres here. 1,500 metres the journey, and the first of our eights race here. And you can see it's a much better competition in the eights, isn't it, with these students, as we've got Trinity maybe half a boat length lead over the top of Guildford, who have maybe a half boat length lead over the top of Aquinas, and then only just inside a boat length in front of Christchurch and Scotch College, then back to Wesley and Hale. So a good contest going on here in our eights. You can see down the tail end of the field, on the right-hand side of the screen, you have Hale and Wesley College fighting it next to each other. Then right next to them, as we come back to the centre of our screens, we see Scotch College and Christchurch. So there's a good contest just for minor placings at the moment, as all the boats are really underway inside 1,000 metres to go. Comfortably in third place just for the moment is Aquinas. The contest for first and second between Guildford and Trinity. It's a nice front-on shot as they head towards us. You can see the oars coming up and out very nicely indeed. What a great piece of vision we have here from our drone. On the left-hand side of our screen, Trinity College with the stroke sculler, Luca Bishop, keeping them on the ball here. Haven't quite got the full boat length lead over the top of Guildford Grammar. There's good signs here from Guildford Grammar. It's the last 750 where it's going to matter. But as we've seen with some of the Trinity boats so far, it doesn't matter when they get to the second half. They lift again. The Trinity crews have really come this summer, certainly in the younger divisions. They've been the form school. Haven't quite got it right in the top 8 though. Not yet anyway. But we saw that last year as well with Scotch College. Didn't see much of them all summer long until we saw a different crew. And I don't mean they lined up with anyone different. They were just in a different space when they turned up for Head of the River last year, and they absolutely smashed it. We look back to our live drone pictures now. Trinity have got the boat length lead, but that's all it is. Then we go Guildford Grammar. Aquinas starting to creep back on to Guildford Grammar as they head through just through 500 metres to go. Then Christchurch. This is some good competition here. Trinity show the way. Aquinas are trying to lift themselves back over the top of Guildford if they can. The adrenaline will start to pump for Trinity College here. They're leading comfortably as they go into 500 to go. They'll really start to get that tingle, that winner's tingle, that you know you're not far away. Yes, it hurts, but it hurts less when you can see the rest of the competition. Guildford Grammar into second, Aquinas coming back, and then we see the yellow of Christchurch just on our screens as they head towards us, but they're trying to fight off Scotch College. Then we have Wesley and Hale trying not to be the last ones across the line here between them. Trinity are going to get the shouts from their school from the side of Champion Lakes. They lead comfortably at the moment. Trinity out to just over a boat length lead. Then Guildford and Aquinas. They come down towards the line now. Trinity leading the way. They've looked strong from the outset in this one, the Year 10B final for our 8s here today for 2022. Trinity are going to take another one. They've only dropped one race here so far today. The Hammer Cup is looking very good for them. Trinity are going to go across and take that one out. Guildford Grammar took the fight up to them. They're now hanging on for second, and they'll hang on for second comfortably in the end over the top of Aquinas. Christchurch is the next boat who are going to come up and get the better of Scotch College in 4th place. Scotch College are going to cross in 5th. Go back to Hale and Wesley. Hale are going to go up in 6th place, and then it will be Wesley. As you can see on our footage now on fourstyle.com.au, we've already started race number 8. Just to bring the program back onto speed, the rowing officials have already got us underway. This is race 8, final of the Year 10A Division 8s. Once again, Trinity College start on the left of our screen in lane number 8. Then we go Christchurch in lane 7, Aquinas, lane 6, Scotch College in the middle, then Hale, Guildford and Wesley. So we've got Trinity on our left, Wesley on our right, and they are well and truly heading towards the 750 mark at the moment. The drone footage will show us who's leading at the moment, but it's a good contest at the moment between Aquinas, Christchurch and Trinity. So we are up to race number 8 on our program. Out of 7 completed races, Trinity College have finished in first place in 6 of them. Guildford Grammar took the other win. The drone's live now, and look at the footage here. Trinity leading the way once again in front of Christchurch. Then we go back to Aquinas College. This one is much closer, because Guildford Grammar are up into third place as we look across the screen. Nothing between Guildford Grammar and Aquinas for third. Guildford Grammar are challenging now for second place as they head towards us. There's only a half boat length lead to our lead boat in Trinity, so our Year 10 A Division 8s is quite the contest at the moment. The school's a little bit closer in this one. Trinity leading the way, Aquinas and Guildford going out after them, as is Christchurch. Christchurch have got themselves up into second, but Guildford right across the other side of the lanes, challenging them for the second spot. They're our lead two boats on our screens as we see them now. Trinity lead the way in front of Christchurch. The yellow oars of Christchurch rating very nicely. Then a close run for the third place challenge between Aquinas and Guildford Grammar. In between them we have Scotch College and Hale, and then Wesley rounding out our field at the moment. Only about 300 metres left to run now. Trinity lead the way. They'll go past the school very shortly. They'll get all the screams from the sidelines. Fantastic footage. The wide shot now, you can see these eights a lot closer racing. Trinity, not quite the full boat length lead, but a lead just the same and looking comfortable. They come down to 100 to go now. Trinity showing the way, and showing the way nicely in front of Christchurch. A good contest here from Aquinas. They have lifted themselves clearly up into third place now. But once again we do the call. 25 to go. Trinity lead the way, and Trinity are going to cross for another win here today. Christchurch will go across in second place. Aquinas have done the job and got themselves up into third. Scotch College pushed through into fourth. Then Guildford for fifth. Hale will cross in sixth, and Wesley will round out our field in seventh. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the final four races of our day here at the 2022 Head of the River Regatta. We finish off our final four races all over 2,000 metres. We'll have our fourth eights, our third eights, our second eights, and then our final of our first eights. And looking at the start list for our first eights, Hale have drawn lane number 8. So they are the form team this year in our first eights. Have a look at some of the footage here. This magnificent surround of the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre. You can see all of our eights just starting to line up in the canal to the left-hand side of our Champion Lakes Regatta course. And our students, superb facility used for rowing. There's a cycle path that surrounds this venue that's used for running, pedestrians just walking, but it's used for running races. It's also used for bicycle time trialling. The local time trialling association for bike racing uses this course. It's about a 5 kilometre circuit, so superb circuit that doesn't have any traffic on it when the racing is going on, so a multi-use facility really. And of course, man-made, built for the sport of rowing. Of course, once upon a time, Head of the River, we would see it actually take place in the Swan River, finishing up near the Canning Bridge. A few years ago, we were back at the Canning Bridge for a period of time, and here we are, Champion Lakes Regatta Centre. Perfect conditions, as you see all of our crowd on the side here, as we look down from our commentary tower. It won't be long before we are underway with our next race, race number 9. Don't forget, folks, this is your last chance now to get yourselves a raffle ticket. $10 a ticket. All proceeds going to Aquinas Junior Rowing, our host school for 2022. Make sure you get yourself a ticket. They will be closed off in about the next 5 to 10 minutes for tickets at the raffle here today. $10 a ticket. If you like your champagne, make sure you get yourselves a ticket in the draw. We'll be doing the draw before the final race here today. So we're back to our live drone coverage here as we head down right the way to the end of, or the start of, should we say, the start of the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre. You can see some of the houses to the left-hand side of us. Fantastic location for this regatta centre. Once upon a time, in my lifetime, I'm not quite that old, but in my lifetime, this is pure and simply just bushland here of Western Australia. Now it's housing and the Champion Lakes Regatta Centre. To our right-hand side of the screen, we have one of our major highways that connects our beach all the way through to the hills and on the way to the Perth international and domestic airports. So just to give you an idea of where we are here in Western Australia. And a drone just giving us a nice look. You can see the bike paths running down the right-hand side. You can see a little bunch of cyclists there congregating. It looks like the start of a mini Tour de France. All of the coaches and helpers who will ride along and try not to ride into each other as they try and cheer for their teams and have a good look at what's going on. So great vision there of our starting area. And the next event is the final of our 4th Division 8s, 2,000 metres. Just a reminder from our Venues West staff here, just a reminder to keep everybody inside the crowd control barriers. Please stay off the bank and stay out of the reeded area. So for those of us joining on forstyle.com.au, you can see the footage of what's happening down on the start line. We've got one of our boats a little bit late to the dress rehearsal, it would seem. Just getting themselves into the starting area. So those of you who are patiently waiting here on the sides of Champion Lakes, we're just waiting on one of our crews to align themselves up. A little bit of miscommunication, but we've got a nice sunny day. We've got time. We can let them get to the start line. Dealing with students, we're not dealing with an Olympic Games. We want to make sure that everyone can give us their best 2,000 metres here today, and well done to our WA rowing officials by allowing our team just to turn up a little bit late. But I'm not going to mention the school because I wouldn't do that to anyone. Everyone is down there in the 2,000 metre starting point now. We've got some great footage from our cameras. Please, if you're sitting by Champ Lakes, your device doesn't have too much glare, go on to forstyle.com.au. That's the number 4, style.com.au. When you get on there, press live and you'll be able to get all of the footage that we have here today. For those of you wanting to watch it later in the day, it is being recorded. You will be able to watch it later, so all of our crews will be able to see themselves have a race. And with any luck, a bit of a surprise with one of our other drones that we had last year in the final, where if the weather conditions are perfect and the field is doing the right thing, we'll have a drone alongside. We had some great vision last year from our winning team, with the drone travelling alongside them, which was a great memento for our winners to be able to have as they move on out of high school and into the next part of their lives. Down on the start line for the 2,000, seeing the oars start to come up out of the water, and now we're underway. 2,000 metres of the journey, from left to right as we look at our screen. We have Trinity College, Aquinas College, Christchurch, Hale, Guildford and Wesley. Just the 6 schools in this one. Okay, our Hamer Cup points, our best school overall for the day. After we've gone through our Year 10 events, listen for your school name. Here are the points so far. Wesley in 7th place on 86 points. Then we have Scotch College on 90 points in 6th place. Hale at the moment are in 5th on 100 points. Aquinas are in 4th on 109. Christchurch are in 3rd on 111. Then we have Guildford on 118 and Trinity Well, no surprise there. They're leading the way on 135 points for the moment. We have a quick look back at our screen now, and we can see in lane number 7 Aquinas College taking it up to Trinity in this one as they've gone through 1,500 metres to go. For those of us who are joining us here at Champion Lakes, we do have a little bit of housekeeping. If Carol Cassetta, if you can hear me, or if somebody knows Carol Cassetta, if you could just give her the heads up, if she could come to the commentary tower, the start-finish line to the top floor, we have a gift for you. That is Carol Cassetta. We go back to our fourstyle.com.au footage. And we go to the drone footage shortly, but when we saw the drone footage last time, Aquinas was turning the screw early in this one over the top of Trinity College. It took a while to get everyone into the start line for this one. Well, it took a while for one team to get into the start line. Everyone else was set to go. Maybe a nervous start, but Aquinas, they shot out of the cannon nicely. They seem to be rating nicely. The red oars of Aquinas and the white oars of Trinity. The white oars of Trinity, they seem to be coming up and out a little bit quicker, but maybe that's the difference between watching white as opposed to red. We have a look down there, and it is the difference because Aquinas lead the way in front of Trinity by almost a boat length here. And we go a long way back to the rest of our field, which is Hale, Christchurch, Guildford and Wesley. They're the four that trail. Looks like we've had a problem with one of our boats here. It's one of our boats really struggling in this one at the start. Wesley in all sorts of troubles. And by the way they are steering, I'd say they've got a problem with the boat there, Wesley, because they are all over the course, which means they might just be in a rudderless situation here because they are really in strife. As we look back to the field, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen here, Aquinas. Trinity's slightly out of shot here. They're in second place. Then we go across to the yellow of Christchurch, Hale, and then Guildford Grammar. No Scotch College boat in this one. Aquinas just a little bit skew-iff all of a sudden, not dead straight down the centre. I wonder if that's going to hurt them at all as they head towards about 750 metres to go. Trinity, however, in lane number 1, they're in second place. They haven't skipped a beat yet. They have been perfect throughout. Aquinas just had a little bit of troubles with the steering there. They started to just drift off their line a little bit. Let's hope they're okay because they are well and truly controlling this race at the moment as they head towards 500 metres to go. Aquinas lead by a boat length in front of Trinity. Then we go back to Christchurch, Hale, Guildford. So through 500 to go now. Aquinas in the front-on shot. What can our drone footage show us? They'll show us the same thing. They're about just over a boat length clear of Trinity at the moment. Then the fight for third place is between Christchurch and Hale. Then we go back to Guildford, and unfortunately Wesley, well, they're in our shot, but they're a long way in the background because they clearly have had trouble with the boat there, the Wesley crew, unfortunately. You can see once again, Aquinas just weaving about a little bit on their line. What can Trinity do about that? They're inside about 300 metres to go now. Aquinas leading the way. You can see our bikes on the right-hand side of the screen on the bike path having a good look at what's going on. Great footage there from our drone footage. Aquinas lead the way. This is our host school for 2022. Aquinas want to get themselves a win. Aquinas have led Trinity the whole way. Trinity have not given it away though, have they? They're fighting on and it's getting close as they head towards the line. Still a boat length clear though, Aquinas. The Aquinas boat, well, it's woken up their support crew because of a lot of noise coming from the Aquinas marquees this time. Aquinas College, our host school for 2022. They're going to come down for 25 to go. Another school takes a win here today. Only 2 schools so far. It's all been Trinity. Guildford have had a win, and now our host school, Aquinas, cross in first place of our 4th eights. Trinity will go across in 2nd place. There's been a great contest between Christchurch and Hale for the 3rd place spot, but Christchurch are going to come up and finish in 3rd place. Then we will go back to Hale. We look back down the course. Guildford will round out the 5, and as I said before, unlucky for our Wesley crew. They've had trouble with their boat. They're nursing at home. Wesley will round out our field. Hale across now. Now we see the boat of Guildford Grammar heading towards us now. Guildford about to go across the line, and we look further down the course and we acknowledge the race by Wesley as they come towards us. That's from our live footage. We're going to go back to the screen now, and the next of our races is underway, and this is race number 10. This is our 3rd 8 cruise. As we look across the course from left to right, we have Aquinas College, then Guildford Grammar, Christchurch, Trinity in the middle, Hale, Scotch and Wesley. We'll go to drone footage shortly, but our race number 10, our 3rd last race of the day, over 2,000 metres underway. This is the final of the 3rd 8s. We go to our drone footage now to have a look and see who is leading the way, and we look to the middle of the course, and it's Trinity College. Surprise, surprise here today. Trinity College in the centre of our screen leading the way. Aquinas in lane number 8 on the left hand side. They are in 2nd place. There's nothing between Aquinas and Trinity once again, and Guildford Grammar up into 3rd place. So another good contest starting here over the first part of the journey in our 2,000 metre event. Trinity College lead the way. This is where over 2,000 metres they'll all just try to settle in for that moment, just for that 1,000 metres, if they can just settle and go nicely. The drone footage absolutely perfect here today. Trinity leading the way. They're getting the challenge though from Aquinas College. Aquinas College now starting to take themselves through to the lead. You see our bikes on the right hand side on the bike path sorting themselves out, but this is between Trinity in the dead centre of the field and Aquinas now going to the front. So the table is turning for schools. Aquinas, our host school for 2022, are raising the colours up the flagpole with pride here today. Aquinas won the last one. Can they go back to back here? Can the 3rd 8 take a win out as well? There's still a ways to go here, and the challenge is going to come from Trinity in the centre. Guildford Grammar have got themselves up comfortably into 3rd for now as they head towards us. They're through past the halfway mark. Aquinas, not even half a canvas between the two boats. Maybe half a canvas. Definitely Aquinas are starting to really lift the pace though, putting the pressure on Trinity at this stage. It'll be interesting to see where they are at 500 to go, because just when you think Aquinas is starting to go away with it, Trinity tend to fight back, tend to be lifting the pace each time they do it. Rating very nicely. Always a good contest with our 8s. Guildford Grammar just starting to fall off their line a little bit, coming towards the ropes just a little bit, but then in no danger of tangling up with the Aquinas boat. You can see our WA rowing officials in the number 2 boat behind having a real good close look, making sure that the boats aren't getting into too much trouble. Aquinas also dragging themselves over towards the lane boys, but Aquinas are leading the way, dragging themselves over the lane boys out of effort and nothing more. They are really trying to keep this lead over the top of Trinity now. Good contest here. It's about a canvas the difference between the two. Starting to edge towards half a boat to the favour of Aquinas. But have a look at Trinity in the centre. They are fighting back. This is going to go head to head between these two as they're through 500 metres to go. It's between Aquinas and Trinity. There's going to be a lot of noise this time when they get towards the school marquees. Aquinas on the left of our screen in lane number 8, and then dead centre is Trinity. You can see that Aquinas is starting to turn the screw here and just putting a little bit more pressure on, getting away from Trinity ever so slightly, starting to extend that lead. The side-on shot slightly in front of all the boats, which makes the lead look that little bit different to what it actually is, but Aquinas starting to look comfortable now as we have a look across. Fantastic footage from our drone there. Of course, the students will be able to go back and watch all this footage later today. Aquinas lead the way across the water to Trinity. In the middle is Guildford. Live pictures, Aquinas getting stronger as they head towards the last couple of 100 metres. Trinity, but look at the fight back from Guildford trying to get themselves up into the top two here. Aquinas lead the way, and once again the Aquinas marquee starting to make a lot of noise here at Champion Lakes. Aquinas leading. They're going to go back-to-back for wins here, one after the other. Our host school going to go home proud today with at least 2 wins on the trot. Aquinas come down to the finish now. They're having a good look across at the rest. Trinity trying to hang on into second in front of Guildford because Guildford have fought on nicely. Aquinas will cross in first. They're happy about it too. Trinity cross in second. Then Guildford Grammar will cross in third. A good fight back there from Guildford Grammar. Then we go back to Christchurch. Hale will cross in 5th place. And then the contest to round out the field will be between Wesley and Scotch College. Hale go across now in 5th. Wesley are going to go across in 6th place, and Scotch College will round out our field. We'll be back to line drove footage very shortly because our next race is already underway. So ladies and gentlemen, our penultimate race of the day is heading towards the 1500 metre mark now. This is the second eights. As we look across the water from left to right, Christchurch are going from lane 8, then Aquinas College, Guildford, Trinity from the centre again, Hale, Scotch and Wesley. Now drone footage showing us what's going on now in our penultimate race of the day, and what they're showing us is Aquinas College have got themselves about a half canvas lead over the top of Christchurch, nothing between it. Then we've got Guildford Grammar in 3rd. Then we go back to Trinity, Hale, Wesley and Scotch College in that order. So the contest at the moment is between Aquinas, Christchurch and Guildford. Nothing really between Aquinas and Christchurch as they start to head towards 1,000 metres to go. Just a reminder to all spectators on either side of the Champion Lakes Regatta course here today, please move yourselves out of the reeded area and stand on the bike path, just on the edge of the bike path. Please move back from the edge of the water is the request from our venue's west start. Our race is well and truly through 1,000 metres to go now, and the contest is between Aquinas and Christchurch. Guildford Grammar hasn't really changed the distance between any of the boats since the start. Not too much between them, so let's see who's got the strength over the last part of the journey. It's not like one has rode away from the other. They've gone very nicely. Aquinas, Christchurch, they're the leaders at the moment and making the best of it. Guildford Grammar hasn't gone away though as they head through 500 metres to go now. The contest is between Aquinas and Christchurch, and Christchurch are starting just to rate They're lifting up the rate nicely here, and they've just started to edge Aquinas ever so slightly. So it's between Christchurch and Aquinas. Christchurch haven't had a win today. It's a good time to start having one. The penultimate race of the day. Our crews are going to get towards our schools are all set up in the marquees very shortly, so the noise is going to start because Christchurch will dearly love to be able to take home a win here today. Aquinas and Christchurch. That is the contest, and Guildford, dare I say it, seem to be lifting nicely as they head towards the last 300 metres of this journey. Aquinas, Christchurch and Guildford Grammar. They head towards us now with about 250 to go, and Guildford had most definitely lifted their rate. Have a look at this. Christchurch ever so slightly ahead of Aquinas, and Guildford going nicely. Trinity also still there. They have lifted their rate because they've seen what the Guildford boat is doing. 3 boats in the lead, but it's Christchurch who lead in front of Aquinas, then Guildford Grammar. Christchurch, Aquinas, Guildford trying to get across the top of Aquinas here as they come down towards the finish. Christchurch leading the way. The Christchurch marquee and the Aquinas marquee are making a huge amount of noise now. Christchurch lead the way by about a half boat length. They have gotten stronger. They haven't slowed down. Guildford Grammar are lifting all ways to Sunday at the moment if they can to try and get up into second place. Christchurch are coming down. They're going to finish in first, but Guildford Grammar have come from the clouds to get themselves up for second. Yes, they will. Christchurch cross in first. Guildford Grammar have got themselves up into second. Aquinas for third. Back to Trinity into fourth. Hale will cross in fifth place. There's a big contest going on between Scotch College and Wesley to round out our field. It looks like Wesley are going to make sure they get themselves in sixth place as they go across, nothing between them, and Scotch College will round out our field. So ladies and gentlemen, the racing getting exciting then. We move on to our final race of the day. This is the big one. The first 8 head of the river. Well, here is the live footage of the start of the 2022 Head of the River PSA Carnival. We've got over 1,400 people on our live feed, the biggest ever numbers we've ever had for our live feed of the Head of the River since we started televising on 4style.com.au just several years ago now. As we look across from left to right on our screens, we have Hale, Christchurch, Aquinas, Trinity, Guildford, Wesley and Scotch College. The form school in the first 8s in our last 2 regattas has been Hale. The defending champions, Scotch College, they're underway. You can see all of our coaches and enthusiasts on the bike path to the right-hand side of our screen. The mini Tour de France bunch gets itself underway as we have a look at what's going on to the left of our screen. It's a very nice start indeed from Aquinas College. Christchurch has gone out nicely. Hale comfortable. They're the 3 boats who have got out the best so far. Then we go across the screen to our right. In the middle there we have Trinity nicely doing it. Then Guildford. Then we go to Wesley. Scotch College just trailing that little bit this year. We move back to the left-hand side of our screen and we see that Christchurch has got the best of the start so far. Christchurch leading the way only ever slightly in front of Aquinas to their right-hand side on our screens, and then Hale in lane number 8 closest to our shoreline. Christchurch setting it up nicely through this first 500 metres. There is not enough to talk about as far as the difference between the boats at the moment. Christchurch have got out to a nice lead, but not a lead that is absolutely smashing the field just yet. This is a nice start from our eights. Christchurch, can they do a back-to-back after we saw Aquinas do a back-to-back, then Christchurch took a win, and now Christchurch, they are leading the head of the river through the first 500 metres, and they are starting to look strong as well, the Christchurch crew. They lead by half a boat length over the top of Hale, and then Aquinas into third place, our host school. Christchurch lead the way. We've got over 1,500 people joining us on our live stream, the biggest numbers we've ever had for our Head of the River telecast. Welcome to everyone who's watching around the world and on the east coast of Australia. I hope you're enjoying the footage we've brought you here today. Christchurch is the boat that leads. Christchurch, not quite the boat length lead yet, but they sit in a very comfortable position as they go through 1,000 metres. Christchurch lead the way in front of Hale, who is in the left-hand side to them as we look at the screen. Hale is the school that's won the last couple of regattas in the first eights, so they would be the form school. The Head of the River, as we've said before, has been brought forward to this time to make sure we can get it into the season on the possibility of restrictions that may come our way here in Western Australia. It's been a great decision by our schools and by our PSA executive to make sure Head of the River was able to run unimpeded as they head towards us now. Christchurch, they have the edge, but have a look at Hale to their left as we look at our screen in lane number 8. They're just starting to creep back up. It almost got to a boat length lead there for Christchurch. Now Hale, it's only 2/3 of a lead now. Hale are fighting back as they start to head. They've gone through 1,000 to go, so they're heading up towards around 750 to go now. All of our students, all of our helpers are on right up against the crowd control barriers here at Champion Lakes, getting ready to scream for their school. Christchurch lead, but now they only lead by half a boat length because here comes Hale, and I've got to tell you, Aquinas are going with Hale as well. Neither of these schools are backing off at the moment. They head towards about 600 metres to go. Christchurch lead the way in front of Hale. Aquinas is next. Then we go back to the rest of our field. The rest of our field, Trinity, Guildford, Wesley and Scotch are going to fight it out for the minor placings because there is 3 schools that are coming away with it here for 2022. Christchurch have led from the outset, but I tell you what, it's only about 1/3 of a boat difference now between Christchurch and Hale. Hale are trying to come back. Christchurch are hanging on through 500 to go, and there is nothing between them now. About a canvas, just coming up to a canvas between the 2 boats. Aquinas are still there though. They are still on the inside of the boat level of Hale. They look worse on screen because they trail Christchurch. However, Christchurch look to be lifting as they come up to about 350 to go. Christchurch show the way, just in front of Hale at the moment. Then we go back to Aquinas. Christchurch leading. The schools are starting to make some noise. Hale are really starting to rate nicely. You can see the white oars coming out of the water that little bit quicker, but Christchurch still have the lead. Hale, with all of the work to do now, can they get over the top of Christchurch? We're coming down to around 250 metres to go. Christchurch still with the advantage. Here come Hale though, just off our screens. Hale are getting back to about a canvas between them now. Christchurch are hanging on and Hale are fighting back. Hale and Christchurch. Hale are starting to run them down. Christchurch still in front. Can Christchurch hang on from here? They've led the whole way home. Christchurch and Hale all the way down to the line. Christchurch lead. Hale still coming at them. Christchurch trying to lift. Christchurch trying to lift and hang on. Hale at a canvas. Christchurch are leading. Christchurch by a canvas with 20 metres to go. Christchurch are going to take out the Head of the River for 2022. Hale into second. Aquinas are going to go across in third. Then we will go back to Trinity, Guildford Grammar, Wesley and Scotch College. But well done to Christchurch Grammar. They have taken out the Head of the River for 2022. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance. We'll be getting underway with the presentations of trophies shortly. But the final Hamer Cup trophy scores are as to follow. In 7th place, Scotch College on 168 points. In 6th place, Wesley on 190 points. Hale in 5th on 213 points. In 4th place, Guildford Grammar on 240 points. We have an equal second, Aquinas and Christchurch on 245 points. And in first place for 2022 for the Hamer Cup is Trinity on 263 points. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank our hosts, Venue West, and all the staff here who have put the regatta course in such fine form today. A big thank you to our Aquinas host school, And a big thank you to Verity Keogh, our executive of the PSA. A big thank you to forstyle.com.au. Our live footage will continue. So for those of you who have joined us, some 1,600 people around the world joined us here today on our live footage. It's been fantastic to have you join us. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage that we've been able to bring to you in perfect Western Australia. Please stay online, watch the footage from forstyle.com. But that's all from me. See you next year.
Seriously?